Let's try to do blue today, and then I want to finish it by Tuesday because Wednesday is early access. So tomorrow it's gonna be rough for me because I have a dentist in the morning when I usually stream. So I might do like a late stream tomorrow just to maybe get 2 more colors in, and then we finish it on Tuesday. Because the set feels like bigger than usual, or maybe not. I don't know. What's the card count in this set? Like 300 something. Okay, let's go. Let's go with blue. So 3 colorless blue for a 2/3 flying war 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Okay, if war 2 is really interesting. You really want to make it a 3/4. You really want to make it a 3/4. How do we value this? It just, it grows. It only stacks up, right? It doesn't leave value behind, but it is hard to kill it for efficient mana. I'll say a C for now, but could see this being a C+. Sometimes you don't want to exile your stuff also because of Harmonize and Renew. So it's gonna be spots where it's not gonna become bigger than 2/3 early enough. Colorless blue 2/1 renew for 3 colorless and a blue, exile this card from your graveyard, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. So there's things to like, there's things to not like. I don't like that it cannot block mobilize tokens for free. So 2 mana 2/1 is a weirdly, it's a bad stat in most sets, but in this set is even worse. While if it trades with something, you get quite decent value. 2 counters is not nothing. I think you really wanna discard this card or mill it, and that's the best application for it. And then it's like it's still a serviceable 2-drop if you need a 2-drop on curve if you don't have anything else. I'll go C-, but or D+, but with synergy is probably a C. Because it often will just chump. That's the awkward part. If you play it, there's not much that it trades with. We haven't seen, well, I guess we only seen white cards, but yeah. Okay, you guys are all excited for the turtles, right? 3 colorless, blue, 5/9, ward 2. Whenever this creature attacks, put 3 stun counters on it and draw 3 cards. Whenever you cast a turtle spell, untap this creature. How many other turtles are there? None? This is the only turtle? I mean, in Limited, you're not unhappy playing a 5 mana, 5/9 with ward 2. That's a decent card already, and it draws you 3 cards. I wouldn't go too high. I would say it's like a B card, B+. Because you're completely... Okay, the ability is neat, though. Although you're not going to be attacking whenever you're getting beaten down. But whenever you attack and are ahead, you're going to maybe do that twice even in a game. Have another turtle and draw into it. I would say B or B+. Could see B+ on that. There's not much downside of putting this in your deck. 4 colorless, blue, instant, draw 3 cards. Creatures your opponent controls gets -3/-0 until end of turn. So a fog that draws you 3 cards, but it's 6 mana. I'd much rather play this than a 5 mana draw 3. I think this is better because you probably don't take the damage that turn. No, it draws you 3 cards, right? You're +2 cards up. I'm looking at the artist name. That must be like a Balkan person. So we're upping a grade because of that. C-. Am I too modest on the rating? Oh, you can even blow them up on attacks. On the blocks. Wait. Maybe I am too modest. Like there's gonna be games where this will be a complete blowout, especially early in the format. Like on the blocks, it's crazy. You double block the creatures for free in board stalls and all. Okay, let's go C. I like this card. I somewhat like the card. Well, it's 6 mana. It's like, I don't know. This has enough applications and enough room to be bad as well. B for Balkans, yeah. 4 colorless, blue for a 4/4 snake wizard, snake wizzy. When this creature enters, tap target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Renew for 3 mana, exile this card from your graveyard, tap a creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. I mean, this is what's a card? Bergstrider. Bergie. Bird Strider. Berg Strider was really good in Kaldheim. We're probably like at least plus a power creep. But yeah, this has another ability. This card is good, yeah, it's really good. I'll go B for now. Snake Strider. Island Dragon. 5 colorless blue. 4/4 ward, 2 flying. And then Omen part has tap up to 1 target creature, draw a card at instant. For double spelling the first part, the Omen part. 6 mana for a 4/2 flying war dragon. Not completely terrible, but also not great either. I like the white one more, but this one is okay. Well, this is not real tempo, is it? This is negative tempo. In limited, this transfers, like tempo transfers into board presence, and you're -2 mana to not remove or add anything to the board. So you're actually negative. In most of the cases, you're negative on tempo in limited. No, Omen means you're just casting it and reshuffling it. Yeah, I think it's a C. I don't think this dragon is that great. Unless like a 6 mana 4/4 ward 2 flyer will be really good. Which can happen, I guess. But unlikely. Colorless blue, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may behold a dragon. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. If a dragon was beheld, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4. I like Quench. I'm a simple man. I like just a Quench. I don't need a dragon part. I'm a big fan of Quenches in limited. Obviously, there's an upside here. You can. It's irrelevant for longer. I don't usually rate them high because in some sets they're better than others, and you always can pick those cards late. But this is one of the better Quenches, so C-. Just because how late they go and you're never gonna pick it in first 4 picks. 2 colorless blue for a human wizard, 1/3. When this creature enters, look at the top 6 cards. You may reveal an instant, sorcery, dragon. Put the rest on the bottom. Untapped dragons you control have hexproof. So if you hit, which I assume you often will, this is pretty good. 3 mana, 1/3 draws a card with a little card selection. It's not even that much better than a Augur of Bolas, which was a good limited card. I would say this is just a B still. Like, okay, the dragon part might be more relevant in some decks than others. Yeah, for limited application, it doesn't read as a rare, that's for sure. But I guess for constructed application, this is a rare. No, I don't think it's that good. I think it's like just a value card. Like I would say B minus. Never going above that, because also there's a potential of missing, which is quite high on this actually. Like in a Sultai deck, are you really hitting? So you need it in like a Jeskai deck then. In Temur, you're probably also not hitting that much. Although Temur has more dragons potentially. Yes, actually, it might be. It's worse than Augur of Bolas, right? Augur of Bolas is a 2-drop. This is not like this. It's the same stats. Yeah, but how Augur is 4, right? Okay, so it is hitting more, or is Augur 6 as well? It's top 3. Okay. No, I'm staying. Then B minus. Okay. Okay. Augur is only 3. True. It is like really bad to play a 3 mana 1/3. That's one thing. But yeah. It does block all the mobilized stuff though. The random ones. Dragonstorm Forecaster. 1 blue for an 0/3. 2 tap. Search your library for a card named Dragonstorm Globe. Or some sort of a dragon and really put it into your hand. Is this the dragon? No. What are we getting with that? I don't even know the other cards. What's a Dragonstorm Globe? Each dragon you control enters with an additional +1/+1. Is that a rare? Flying Vigi. Whenever this creature attacks, surveil 1. They're colorless. What rarity are they? Both commons? Okay. Because I don't completely hate 1 mana 0/3s. 1 mana 0/3 blocks most 2-drops. So it's at the core not irrelevant. Does that make sense? And then it grants you value. I think this is good when you build around it. You obviously need the other part. You need the other pieces. You're not gonna play a 1-mana 0-3 for no upside. A 5-mana 3-3 flyer. So you have to put that in the deck. But then you're playing bad cards with that. Imagine drawing those cards. Yeah, I don't know. You don't want to play too many random 5-mana 3-3s. I actually, now that I think of it, like if it was just pure value, if it kind of like it was an alchemy type of effect, this would be good. In terms of deck construction, this is pretty mid. It is fixing, okay. Yeah, there's gonna be decks that maybe want to build around this. Yeah, but think about it. You play this on 1, you do nothing on 2, you do nothing on 3. What's your plan to survive then? Because the fixing artifact you want early also, right? No plan, just that. Yeah, but you got the cards, you got the value, so even if you died, you died rich. Yeah, I'm gonna go D on that. Cannot trust those cards. Cardboard is cardboard. 2 colorless blue at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Tap, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Activate only during your turn and only if a card left your graveyard this turn. So what's the renew, right? Is the mechanic. How else are we removing the cards? Is there another way to get cards from the yard? Okay, there are the cards that target your graveyard. There's the thingy. The combo with the bird. The bite. I don't know where it is here. I'm gonna say this is a niche card. Just because 3 mana, if it was 2 mana and then surveilling each turn, that would be different. But you want to build around it, and you want to build around it hard. But once there's gonna be a deck for it for sure, but I don't think this is ever a high pick. Unless that exact deck will be completely busted. Harmonize. Oh, that exiles, yeah, Harmonize as well. Yeah. I can see this being like actually a good build around, similar to like a kicker type of card. Does make flyers as well. How do we rate that? Like still a D+, build around. And just realizing the context explains the card. So even if we don't put a real number on it or a letter on it. 4 colorless blue for an instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you have cast another spell. This turn, draw 3 cards, then discard a card. 3 is expensive to double spell on. But probably okay, because 3 is +2 card advantage. The thing is, if you're gonna put too many of these in your deck, you're not gonna double spell. So the first one gets high. The second one is probably redundant, actually, makes your deck worse. I think the first one is really important. Like the first one makes it so you're good at triggering the first double spell, and then you're good at drawing next double spells, right? But if you draw 2 of these in a hand, you cry. I'll go C+, because 2 you're still playing, right? You can discard the first one. Like there's enough upside, enough flexibility with the discard. Maybe realistically a C, but I think it enables stuff. I think it lets you chain the double spells, which is important. Fresh start, 1 colorless blue, flash enchant creature. It gets -5, -0, and loses all abilities. I love this sort of cards. Like these are good. And these are just good. Like losing all abilities for 2 mana. A blue Doomblade. You still cannot go too high because there's sack effects and all. Maybe bounce effect. So maybe like a C+. I would say C+ actually, because like flash makes it so you even double block it on the blocks. You put it on a flyer, kill a flyer, so then it disappears, right? It's not there anymore. It's 2 mana, the O-Ring is 3 mana, so not worse. Different. It is probably on average worse, more conditional, but it's better on tempo. I do think this is gonna be really, really good. Like historically, these cards are really good. Yeah, unable to scream. I guess it's probably unable to scream is obviously better 1 mana, but this one, it's pretty easy to time it so the creature will actually die. This is what I'm saying. Yeah, okay. Unable to scream and O-Ring will be better in most cases. But you're not critical enough to your own card evaluation if you're saying that they are strictly better. You want to realize the context where this is better, and this is going to be better in scenarios. Like it's better whenever you, because you can actually deal with a creature on the blocks or even on the attacks, because it's still traits, right? Like it's a flash stuff. While they won't engage into blocking if they have like enchantment removal or a bounce spell if you put unable to scream on a creature. Yeah, I get it's a 1-for-1, right? But it's an efficient 1-for-1. And I realized that like O-Ring and Unable to Scream are ultimately better cards because they're more relevant in more scenarios. But saying one is this, that they are strictly better than this, it makes it so you're not critical at card evaluation, and that can hurt you at drafting better, basically. 2 colorless blue, 1/4 flying. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. I like the stats on this. 3 mana 1/4 is okay, and then this color wants to do that, right? Jeskai wants to do that. I mean, even if you don't have that sort of a deck, you're still gonna use this ability sometime. So C, C+, probably C+ for that, huh? Or C in a normie deck, C+ in a dedicated double spell deck. Also, how sick is this if you have 2 in play? But then again, you go this into... Well, the first spell is still gonna be expensive. Can I rate it between C and a C+? 1 mana, 1/2 flasher. When this creature enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-0 until end of turn. We've seen that it was pretty insane in Ixalan, but I think the huge part of that card being insane was because it was an artifact. So this will let you double spell, but it's a little bit awkward with double spelling. It's a little bit awkward with double spelling because you need to cast it in your turn, and this effect is usually better on the blocks. Unless you're really aggressive. I would say it's way worse than the Ixalan ones because of less synergy. These cards are usually overperforming. Also, the Zendikar one was mill 2, right? Or was it mill 2? Was a rogue at least, I know. Maybe it wasn't mill 2. No, it was -2. I think it was all of these are -2 usually. I would say a C for now. I don't want to give it higher because these really vary from like a D+ to C+. Depends on the set and depends what kind of synergy you have with them. Yeah, the Ixalan one was one of the better ones. I think the Ixalan one was actively like a C+, B- card. But that's because of artifact synergy. Okay, 4 colorless blue for a 3/3 enters, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. I usually like those cards. This one is a little bit understated for its mana cost. Obviously, on a 4/4, we saw that card being busted in the last set. Yeah, but that was like a B+ card. I think this is a C, or even a C-. I don't know. If it was your creatures, it would be way more interesting. Then it would be maybe a C. I'll go C-. I think like 5 mana 3/3 is really rough, even though the effect is kind of good. Okay, if there's a lot of tokens, gets better, obviously. There's the spirit stuff. 2 colorless blue 3/2. When this creature enters, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. When you do, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Well, this is 3 mana. This is good. This is really good. Not your 3-drop on 3, even though you can cast it. But it's like a late game. Get something back and cast it in the same turn. You get a double spell immediately. I love it. I love this card. Almost a Snapcaster, yeah. Has this sort of a OTJ. What's the OTJ Snapcaster called? It has this wipe, the 2/3. Yeah, B-. I can see B. I mean, it's like a literal value on a 3-drop. It's not on 3, but late in the game. Allows you to double spell. Lockpicker, yeah. And the flexibility also is here. Sometimes you want to play it on 3 if you don't have a... It gives you the option, even if you lose value. 4 colorless blue, 6/7 dragon flying. When this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hand. And on Omen part, it's an instant draw 3 cards, then discard a card for 3 colorless and a blue. Oh, wow. Man, the creature side of this is completely busted. No, but this is top tier. I think like in limited, this sort of effect is crazy. It's a completely crazy effect. You can even return your stuff back. This, besides the Elspeth, reads like the best card in the set. Really? Because, like, okay, this 6/7 is insane. Like, you need removal. Like, there's nothing bigger than this in the set. At least we haven't seen it yet. Yeah, the Omen side is flexible, and you get it still in the library. I would give this an A+, the flexibility and the bombiness of the creature. Probably realistically an A, because it doesn't get you out of all spots. And there can still be removal. And then maybe you're not that far ahead on tempo. But curving into this is GG. It's literally GG if you're able to curve into this. Yeah, it's busted. This card is busted. Also, like Dragon for all the matter stuff. Imagine showing this to opponent. How bad does that feel? That's a moral victory there. Not it's just an ego kill immediately. There's the behold cards, and you just show this to opponent, and they concede. You get your lunch earlier on a pre-release. 3 colorless blue for a 0/0. So obviously it's gonna grow. You may have this creature enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. Okay, so a clone. Exile this card for 3 mana from your graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on target non-legendary creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. So the renew part is better. So you discard this. No, but it's a 2-for-1, right? Well, 2-for-1. You have to pump something else, so not really a 2-for-1. But sorta 2-for-1. Yeah, this is really good. First of all, clones are not even that bad, even though like pure clone for 4 mana playable, but not insane. But this is like almost a 2-for-1. And then there's the upside of just milling it, generating value, copying a bomb. Yeah, it's any creature. But I mean, clones are there forever, right? You can copy the turtle. Yeah, that's actually fair. This is another turtle for your other turtle. Where's the card? And then it untap. No, it's not on the cast though, so it doesn't work. Because when you're casting it, it's not a turtle yet. It's entering as a turtle though, so it does not work. You can do it. You can copy it though, but it won't work. You will still get both turtles though. Wait, what are we giving this? Like a B+? A-? Could be A-, but I think I'd rather have it at B+ because it's just this sheer value card. Well, value, like, right? It's just efficient. It's matching up what either, like, if it's copying your creature, I guess it can go further ahead, but it's realistically matching what opponent is doing, which is still good. So for 1 mana, when this enters tap enchanted creature doesn't untap. For 5, untap this creature. Infinite mana in your combo. This is how this reads. you get infinite mana, and you keep on untapping. This with a turtle. Oh no, I mean, yes and no. This is kind of good in a tempo deck, but really bad in like historically these sort of cards are kind of weak. But 5 is still a lot. And the one from Khans of Tarkir was actually really good. But that was 2 mana, right? But 6 to untap. One-sided bounce type of effect. So I like it and I also don't like it. I would say this is still like a D+ card. 5 mana, I just Vigi 1 creature. Funny is because that might come up actually. You will need to attack and then block, and then the next attack will be lethal. But then again, why wouldn't you? Yeah, they will have the mana, so then doing it on your creature is fun. It's just fun magic. And it's so unclear who's ahead on tempo. Well, it's clear, but it's unclear going into the match of limited. Even if you're default an aggro deck, you will be blocking often. Just because the play draw nature is huge in limited. So then whenever you're behind on the blocks, I guess you're flipping tempo easier, but eventually the creature still gets untapped. Because the bounce spells are, like, for instance, bounce off and spells like that are still more flexible because they're instant speed, and they can save your own creatures, while this cannot do that. Even though it on the as a tempo spell on opponent's creature, it serves a similar role as a bounce effect, but it's more niche. It's way nicher, if that's a word. That's probably not a word. River walk technique, 3 colorless blue, instant. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on top. Wait, puts it on the choice on top or bottom, okay? Or counter target non-creature spell. Recently, these effects are okay, and then you get some flexibility. It feels like the cycling one from Spit Out. It's not Spit Up. Is it Spit Up? I don't know what the card is called. From Either Drift with cycling. So pretty much same rating. I don't know, D+. Trip Up, yeah, Speed Up. You can do it in response to opponent's searching library or shuffling library. And then it's a kill spell. In response, there is a Wallowing Wilds in the format. Keep that in mind. They crack a Wallowing Wilds, you do this. You profit. And Omens, yeah, true. Roiling Dragonstorm, colorless blue. When this enchantment enters, draw 2 cards, discard a card. When a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. I like the white one better because it generates a board. This is cheaper. This is good. Okay. Build around. It's good for double spelling even, but I mean, it's a 2-mana opt if you don't have dragons. So you need dragons. I would say you need dragons. But not completely unplayable either way. Well, the problem with the dragons is it's not necessarily what colors you play them in. It's more like that they're all expensive. So how do you build a deck? You need to be careful how you build a deck with too many dragons. This is all you need to know. It's a card you want to play responsibly. How about that? I would say, yeah, a C-. I like a C-. But it varies, right? In some decks you will really want this. In some decks it's a literal F. Or D-, okay. If you need a 23rd playable. And also depends how aggro the format will be. If the format is aggro, you don't have time to spend 2 mana to nothing, right? If the format won't be aggro, then it's a little bit different. It also like feeds your graveyard, like the discard part can discard the Harmonize card. So there's definitely flexibility there. 2 colorless blue, 2/1. When this creature enters, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This is a 3-mana 2/1 that draws a card with card selection and graveyard value. I like this card a lot. Even though, yeah, stats, like 3-mana. But 3-mana 2/1 trades with a 2-drop sometimes. I don't think that the decks are that much different nowadays. The speed of the format is not really different in Sealed and Draft anymore. Or that much different because the boosters are just so stacked and the best cards steamroll, so you need to respond immediately. This concept is 10 years outdated almost. That the speed of the format would be so much different. Also, you just profit from currying out in Sealed, even if you're a control deck. So Limited is funny. Like limit drafting is so funny to me in general. Like the whole community. And not saying like that anybody is doing anything wrong, but we're talking so much limited. We're literally over theorizing drafting. Like I think like gameplay should be theorized more and drafting should be theorized less, but it's more and easier to talk about drafting. But then funny is, with all the talk, we still are kinda fixated on outdated concepts. Like, for instance, reading signals is completely different concept last 2 years that it was 5 years ago. Forcing, like, has completely different meaning. Drafting the right way, it has completely different meaning, and people are still stuck on 10 years outdated concepts. Sealed versus draft has a completely different meaning now. Well, it goes... Like, what do you want to know? Because there's so many things to talk. We could literally make a whole stream about that, and I'm up for doing that. But I would want some other people in so we can have a discussion. I can point out some of the most obvious one. For instance, like the play booster completely changed how we're reading signals. You actually benefit from locking in earlier. Reading signals and staying open after like pick 5 and 6 is like actually hurting you more than it. You'd rather do it, like you'd rather lock into something in the dark. But the whole idea is, I think play booster is more skill intensive than the old drafting stuff, because like old drafting was just stay open. Like it was one concept. You just stay open for the whole duration of pack 1 and then figure it out. And that was all it is, drafting the right way. But now it's you need to find a balance between when do you lock in and what info you got and what info you work with, because knowing that locking in earlier will benefit most of your drafts, you just want to do it in the dark sometimes. And that's you need to find a sweet spot, and it's different every draft. So in that sense, it's more skill intensive. Yeah, that obviously different formats apply and stuff. For instance, Duskmourn was a good example where you wanted to stay open for a little longer than in like OTJ, for example, which was a complete opposite, which was a bomby set, and you just wanted to build on your rares and uncommons. Yes and no. The thing with arena opens and high stake or high skilled pots is that it's way easier to recognize a signal. So you're gonna be able to lock in earlier in high skilled pots. Arena actually rewards just drafting a deck often because the signals are so unclear. But you often in Arena Open, you know what is there by pick 5. It's way easier because everybody evaluates the card the same as you are, or closer to the same as you're evaluating them, because everybody has the understanding of the format, if that makes sense. So it's in a way easier, but it's also you're not gonna get as much power. Okay, let's continue. I'll rate this a C+. Is that crazy? This card is good. Like, it's a 2-for-1 on a somewhat of a body. And I think the graveyard stuff is huge. 3 colorless blue, 2/5 Vigi. During your turn, this creature has base power and toughness 5/2. For 7 mana, this creature can be blocked this turn. 3 is bad, but it's good. I think it's good. Because it finishes the game so fast whenever you... It's a control game card. It's a control card. So whenever they maybe attack with 1 creature too much, you wanna kill your last blocker, attack for 5 without activating the ability, and that is huge, right? So it kind of makes them leave 1 more creature back. It does a lot, I think, this card, by not having much text on it. I'm not saying this is an insanely busted common. It's just, it's gonna overperform is all what I'm saying. I would go C-, C maybe C. So X and a blue, counter target spell unless its controller pays X. It costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. I'm kinda okay with a Syncopate already in Limited. Syncopate is also such a play draw dependent card. It's worse. It's almost always worse than a Quench on the draw, but almost always better. So it's like a really play draw dependent card. And what this doesn't do well is where I think counter spells like this shine, where it's basically countering a 2-drop, which I guess it does decent job. Never mind, it does a decent job, right? Similar job to Quench. Although it doesn't counter a 2/3 if you're on the draw, so this is the real downside. We haven't had a Syncopate for so long that I might be higher on Quenches actually than Syncopates, because of the reason that I just mentioned, how much better a Quenches on the draw. Can we even rate this higher than the Quench? I would say a D+. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill 3 cards. Then if your library has no cards, exile this enchantment and put 5 cards from your graveyard on the top of your library in any order. Then you're stacking your deck. I don't think this is I don't think this is an F, but it goes into... I think there's gonna be an archetype that wants to play this. Like a lot of Renew, Harmonize. Oh, you do get only 1 shot. Okay, never mind. I misread it. I thought you could do it more times. You would need multiple of these. I don't know. Yeah, then it's specific. Then you still mill out. Then you need 5 turns after this mills you out. Yeah, I don't know. It's only Sultai applications. Maybe it is an F. To be fair, in Limited, nobody's picking that up. If I'm getting 3 of these, I'm putting them in my deck. You're gonna stack 15 cards on top. Mill your deck pretty quick, stack 15 cards on top. If you happen to draw all 3. If you happen to draw 2, it's probably good enough. I don't know. Interesting. Like we can try this in early access, but I think it's gonna be harder to get it in early access because everybody else will want to try. I kind of agree. I cannot. The more this part that it's not each. If it was each turn, it would be sick without exiling this. So yeah, probably enough. Only the brave will dare. That's a challenge. No, but then then you basically do it. So you do it when you have 0, right? You play the next one. You know what I mean. You save it. You play your cards out and save it, and stack again. 2 mana 2/2. Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy, then exile the spell you cast with 4 time counters. It doesn't have suspended, gain suspend. It's on a 2-drop though, so it works with itself pretty well, right? So you just play this like on 4 and get another card as a copy. I think this is good, but not insane. It just like gives you accidental value. Like, kind of accidental because like, okay, 2 mana 2/2 is bad, but not that bad. C plus, maybe a B minus. This is a fun card though. I'll play it. I'll play it every time, and I'll prove the haters wrong. It's really hard for me to say what's mythic worthy or what's rare worthy or what's an uncommon worthy. I mean, uncommons and commons really get, I guess, it's worth talking about that there because you see them more often. Rares versus mythics, who cares? Like you still wanna recognize the card without its rarity context. Colorless blue 3/3 defender. One colorless at green, blue, red. So this one I like way more than the white one because it actually matters in combat. Even though the white one scries, but a 1/2 is not a body in combat usually. This one is good. And there are decks that would want to play a 2 mana 3/3 defender. There are decks that also don't. Like maybe Jeskai doesn't want to do that. So I'll go. What did we rate the white one? D plus, right? This one C minus maybe. Maybe even C, but meh. 3-power Harmonize as well, that is true. Funny is, I think the best decks will still be 2 colors and a light splash. Not straight up 3 colors, so the fixers just won't be needed there. Maybe you'll play one for a little extra consistency if it will do the job you want to do already as a creature. So I'm not even high on these fixers in general unless they would have an insane ceiling, not insane ceiling, insane floor. Basically, floor is this what we're talking about, 2 mana 3 defender. Draw a card. Okay, so this is what you want for double spelling. 1 mana, draw a card, and then harmonize. It's literally card advantage as well. I like this card. You probably don't want too many in a non-flurry or what's the mechanic? Flurry deck, yeah. You want it in Jeskai. But pretty good in Jeskai. How do we rate that? So it's not... So I would say... Because it's probably okay in... Funniest, it's a Temur card. But it's probably okay. It's better in Jeskai. But it's okay in Temur. You can self-mill it, it's true, yeah. I would say... it's even good in Sultai. But you don't want too many there, I think. Because the tempo inefficiency and all. But I would say this is like so flexible that it might be just like a C minus C card, which is pretty high for an opt, right? In limited. But it's literal card advantage, so you cannot. It's hard to view it as an opt. You can view it as a Think Twice, and Think Twice was good. It's pretty much a Think Twice. I don't think you should sleep on this card. This card is going to be pretty important for some decks. Colorless blue sorcery, return target creature to its owner's hand. Harmonize for 5 and a blue. It does work on your but man sorcery speed. Damn, is that. It's not that weak, it's still gonna do some stuff. It's like double bounce. So I don't like sorcery bounces. I do like instant speed bounces. I think unsummons in modern limited are completely premium, one of the best commons. And we have seen this in either drift, but again, like sorcery. You cannot save your own creature. To be fair, we have example of this sort of card being pretty good though. Okay, first of all the enchantment stuff gets way worse. Like all the flood type of cards, the sleep type of card get way worse. There was one in Innistrad, in Shadows over Innistrad, we had also the reprint of it, which was 1 mana and then 5 to Harmonize. Whenever you wanna just bounce 2 creatures for relatively cheap, you build a board, play this for like 4 mana, which is realistic, attack with everything else but the creature you tap down, and you remove 2 of their best blockers. I would say a D+, but yeah. Let's leave it at D+. Colorless blue 1/3 Vigi can be blocked whenever this creature attacks. Up to 1 target player mills cards equal to this creature's power. So you basically, well, you target yourself. You target yourself. And you profit. I like this. 2 mana 1/3 unblockable is on Vigi, so it blocks all the mobilized stuff. This is good. This is really good. But you want to mill yourself like 80% of the time. I would go even like B- on that because the mill matters also so much. And then all the other stuff. You can pump it. It's not exactly a what was the rat? It's not exactly the looter. The rat looter from Bloomborough. Shoreline looter, yeah. 2 colorless blue 2/2 flying flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Absolutely love it. I'll go B on that. Even if it's not a B, it's a B in my heart. This is cards I want to play. This is why I'm choosing Jeskai on the pre-release. This is all what Limited is about. No, I love it. I seriously think this is good. You need to build around it. You need to have a cheap deck. Even if you get 1 flyer, it already did something. But it has potential for so much more. There was like a saying in older Limited, like the player that basically double spells first is winning a match of Limited. Wingspan Strike. 1 blue enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. For 3 mana, return this aura to its owner's hand. So this is really good for double. This is insane for double spelling. I think this is going to be important. While it doesn't read that well on the surface, I think it's really important for this sort of strategy. Hard to rate it because context dependent. You need a deck for it to be really good. And a deck that's going to be good, it's going to be really good. So I don't know. I could go from D to C+, but realistically maybe a C-. So don't get fooled by just the upside of this card, because the upside is real, but the downside is also you're getting 2 for 1. It's doing what every aura does best, granting you negative value. Applications with auras like that, you can put it on an irrelevant creature, which is not which is technically a 2 for 1, but not in a sense of a creature mattering in that game, right? So it kind of feels like you profited. So in that sense, it's also not bad. Like you put it on a random 2-drop that's irrelevant now. And if they use a kill spell there over your best creature, you're profiting, right? Not in a card-wise, like card advantage sense, but in what matters in a game. So if you play, like this is a pretty skill-intense card to play. So I wouldn't be surprised this having an insanely low win ratio and it would feel like the best card in the set. Yeah, and 5 mana, 2 spells. That's a good point. If you have like really good payoffs like this one, I think I like this card. 2 colorless blue, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards, unless you discard a creature card. Harmonize for 5. Man, if this had a land to discard, this is kind of rough. Discarding creature. Well, you want to discard a renew card. You want to risk this. You want synergy with this. I don't like that. On sheer, like in a vacuum, I don't like that. If you synergize with it, I like it. You're not gonna be happy with these outcomes in a lot of the times. Drawing 3, discarding 2. Drawing 3, discarding a creature is also weird a lot of the times. Yeah, the Harmonize is interesting. So it is still like value-based card, no matter how you put it, even if you discard 2 cards 2 times. Yeah, with Renew it gets interesting. I think it's good, but not anything special. See? Tapping creatures down in Limited can sometimes be awkward because you need to block, especially if you already spend the 3 mana to draw a card, to just draw cards. Then you probably will need to block, and then tapping down creature This can be awkward, especially big creatures. Vigi check. You know what's the real vigilance in this format? I'll tell you a combo, but don't tell this to anybody. This, you put this on your own creature, and then you literally have your own Vigi for 5 mana each turn. They won't even see it coming when you when you leave it tapped and untapped it in their turn. Yeah, the 2/5 is kind of good. Yeah, actually, we haven't talked about this being actually an insane Harmonize enabler, because it's 5/2 in your turn, right? Well, it doesn't block then that turn, but yeah, you get the idea. It blocks the turn it comes down. The next turn you attack Harmonize. Oh, we're only 3 hours in. It feels we're doing this for the whole day already. I think I'm stopping it with blue and we're continuing tomorrow.